Hey guys, welcome back to the Girlfriends and Goals podcast YouTube channel. My name is Samaria, and I'm joined by my best friend and co-host Miosha. And today we're reviewing Married at First Sight, season 17, episode 14. But
Hmm.
before we get into that, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, let us know in the comments what you thought about last night's episode. And we are also looking for ideas for the channel. So if there are
Hmm.
any topics that you'd like us to cover on our podcast, please comment them down below. If you have a reaction that you'd like us to give, or you want us to give a reaction to a situation you're experiencing or advice on a situation
Hmm.
you're experiencing, you can hit us up on Instagram at Girlfriends and Goals Podcast. Or if it needs to be like anonymous and you don't have Instagram or whatever, you can send us an email to girlfriends and goals podcast at gmail.com. And yeah, just let us know what you guys want to see. We're
Hmm.
always down to like give advice or give reactions. This is what we
Yeah.
do with each other all the time. So,
Hmm.
apart from the YouTube channel. So yeah, just let us know. All right, now we can get into the Michael and Chloe episode.
Are you excited about this wedding?
Okay. Not really, but I will say I enjoyed their fashion choices. Yeah,
Really?
I enjoyed his pink suit, especially because we saw her wearing trying on the pink dress, and we're like, okay, that seems kind of not like
Hmm.
her. But I appreciated that he was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, because that's who I am. So I liked the pink suit, and I put down that it probably was a bit much in person, but on camera it looked
Mm.
nice, I thought.
Okay.
What did
Yeah,
you think?
I didn't mind the pink suit, especially since it was his second go round. YOLO. I mean, I'm here. So yeah, I didn't mind it. I didn't care for her dress. I
Okay,
liked her shoes, comfort. I'm
that
all
that I
here for it.
really
She's
liked.
tall, so it's like, oh, she doesn't necessarily maybe feel the need to wear heels. But the dress I wasn't as big of a fan of.
No,
Yeah.
there wasn't. It was just a regular dress. Like it wasn't like a fashion statement. But when I talk about her fashion, I mean like I like that she went with the pink shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I was a little scared about her makeup turning
Oh,
out good.
really? I think it turned out good.
It turned out great, but there was a scene where I guess they were still doing it, and I'm like, I think that foundation shade is a little too light. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, she's a cute lady. I hope they don't mess up her makeup. But I think once they added the bronzer and
Oh, yeah, the dimension
contour,
came back.
yeah,
Also, some foundations need to oxidize more. They
yeah,
just need time, like out of the bottle. But yeah, I think I know what scene you were talking about. She was like looking kind of ghostly. Yeah.
it was giving
I think
Catherine
the end result was good though. She looked beautiful.
very.
The dress was kind of plain, but maybe that was her thought just to play it safe. And then
Hmm.
she could have fun with the shoes and she would only know, I guess.
Yeah, and so he
So,
matched her bridesmaids and he matched her shoes. So I thought that was really, really cute. But the weddings always have me hopeful,
don't they?
right?
And I say most of the ceremonies, unless they're just, I don't know, things are just like super awkward, which we can get into that. I
Okay.
guess unless there was something you wanted to talk about as far as the families, I guess when she was with her friends,
Hmm.
I think her name was Brandy. She was saying that, oh, I'm worried that no one will ever be good
Good
enough
enough
for
for
you.
you.
So the friends know that she has this whole perfectionist thing about her that she says she's overcome. Uh, so we'll see.
I thought it
Not,
was interesting that Michael asked Brennan, Brennan and Orion, of all people. I said, "Baby, these ain't the ones to ask."
why is Orion there? Why is Lauren there too? But Orion, even more so, you were the one who asked for the divorce. To me, I could stomach, I feel like Lauren still being there and Claire. But
Yeah.
if you're the one that initiates it, bye.
Right. You should be done with the whole process. I have thoughts on him, but I
Okay.
guess we could touch on the extras because this was really the Michael and Chloe show. So we could talk
Hmm.
about everybody else at the end. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they were the ones who were supposed to be giving advice. It seems like Brennan really likes Michael. Like, remember, he was like, man, I miss you so much, bro. You know, like, Brendan has friends. Like, Brendan has people he likes. Wow, interesting.
Uh, I don't know about that. Yeah, these are not the two that you want to send. One that asks for a divorce, and then one that's in a miserable marriage. I mean, come on. But I guess what would have been the other option because Austin isn't there. But
His own
even he would,
friend.
yeah, even he would be a stretch because he's struggling with some things in his marriage. So send nobody.
Like, let's just see him with his friends. They seem like a fun bunch.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have too much else from him getting dressed.
Me
Mm.
neither. Do you have anything else for her from her getting dressed?
What did you think about the empty chair photo as far as them being like, oh, this time next year, our girl is going to be married?
I think it's a cute little friend thing to have. You know, like I mean I probably wouldn't do the chair thing, but I could see me and my friends having an inside joke like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't mind it. I think it's just one of their quirky friend moments.
Do you think, from what you saw of her this episode, that she's desperate for marriage or she's just excited?
Well, if you ask Dr. Pia,
That aside, I'm focusing on
yeah.
what we've seen of her. We saw her more this episode. So,
I don't, it wasn't giving me desperation. It was more giving like, oh, this is something I would do and the
mm,
opportunity has presented itself. And why not do it? I think she has enough of an adventurous side in her that this is something she would do. I don't think it gave desperate, but I do think it's clear that she wants marriage. She wants
mm-hmm,
a partner. She wants this type of relationship. So I definitely sense desire. And
okay.
with with her being the age that she is, I just find that understandable. But I don't know, maybe because of her age, I wouldn't consider it desperation. I think she's waited a long time.
Yeah, based off some other things that happened later in the episode, I didn't get desperate from her.
Oh, okay. I would love to hear it.
I think she's wants to be a part of the process and is like, oh, I've tried the normal dating way. I've made it to almost 40. So what do I have to lose? But based off some other things she said, I'm like, nah, I don't get desperate.
Yeah, she seems very secure. And I think desperation, in my opinion, goes hand in hand with like some insecurity.
Mm,
And she just didn't give me that vibe. But you guys let us know in the comments.
mm,
But I think when Dr. Pia said it, she probably meant it in a positive way. The word choice was poor, but I don't think she meant like, oh, she just wants to be with a man. I think she meant like there is that like deep sense of longing,
mhm.
but I don't want to put words into her mouth. She said desperate. That maybe that's what she meant.
Yeah. Okay. So now we can move on to the ceremony.
Okay. Michael strikes me as like a showman a little bit. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like even his interactions with her family and friends, when he was walking down the aisle to when he got there, I just felt like he was at certain points I think he's putting on a show. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with nerves, with this being his second time, with his personality and just him wanting to be liked by the people who are there, but sometimes he can appear as a showman. And he also did the thing with the crown, like wearing it many times or bringing it to meetings. And I'm like, why are you putting on this type of a show? We don't need all that. And I felt like that at the beginning of this ceremony too.
I think also there were a few times throughout the episode where I can't remember all the things he said, but it was a lot of him big upping himself, which on one hand, I'm like, yeah, big up yourself. Who else gonna do it? So I didn't have an issue with a few of the things he said, but after a while, and
Hmm.
given how some of the ceremony went and some of the other conversations,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I'm like, okay, maybe he's trying to give himself that boost of confidence because of how the first wedding went and him
Okay.
being left at the altar. So
Yeah.
I don't want to be too harsh on him. It's like, oh, maybe that's what he needed to do to get through the moment. Like, oh, she gonna feel these soft hands. Like I'm a great catch. I'm good.
Just
So I
saying.
didn't have an issue with the things individually, but then I guess at the end, I was like, I don't know if he just felt like he needed to do that to get through the moment. So I don't want to be too harsh. But it was giving a bit of big upping. I want to be seen. I know I'm a great catch. And I hope that doesn't rub her the wrong way because that's her first time meeting him.
Yeah. There was
Mhm.
one moment at the reception, but I'll save that for later where I was like, okay, I guess. But it was him big upping himself again.
Yeah.
Okay, so I appreciated her mom being there. And was that her brother? I
It was
didn't
a friend, the
okay.
Caesar guy. Yeah, I think it
Okay,
was
I
just
didn't
a
catch the
friend.
thing on the bottom, and I was like, "Oh man, should I go back and But I
Yeah,
lost
it don't
tuned
matter.
the show, so yeah. I appreciated her mom being there in her dad's absence, and I thought that was a very sweet moment with her mom being like, "Oh, you got this," and just
Being
encourage
supportive.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then she comes and is about to walk down. They had to play the dramatic music, like
Hold
whatever.
up.
What?
The hair thing. What did you think about him having his hair fixed at the altar?
That was a part of the showman thing. Like,
Oh, okay,
how is
okay.
it necessary? I don't know. I'm a stickler for my hair too. Like I'm a hair person for events, but it just seemed a little extra. And maybe that's just him. Maybe he's extra
I
and
think he is.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So she
Oh,
walks down.
yes, and she seems pleasantly surprised. Like she seems like she enjoyed
Ooh.
his look. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy for him that she came down all smiles and very cheerful because I know that had to be encouraging for him after he said that when he saw the first bride coming down, like you could tell something was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy for him that she was all smiles and just happy, and she seems like a
Mm-hmm.
very cheerful person, and I enjoy that about
Yeah. She seemed to like what she saw. He liked what he saw.
her.
And I don't know. The vows are fine. What the friend said about her, she has it all, brains, beauty, and boobies.
Yeah.
Uh, and then they're both animal lovers. They find that out at the altar. So I'm like, whew, great. We don't have that as an issue.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was fine, I think. The energy seemed okay. They were holding hands the whole time.
Mm-hmm. She liked the pink suit. Okay. Yeah, that's about all that I have on the ceremony. I think it went well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then afterwards, I appreciated him addressing the elephant in the room. Well, the elephant in the room for us, not for her because
Mm.
she didn't know about it. But I appreciated him addressing it very soon and addressing it very well, I thought. Like anticipating what her concerns might have been and saying that doesn't need to be a concern for you because I have processed this. And it was still a concern for her later. Like she mentioned it with the girls
Mm-hmm.
later on, but I appreciated that if she was wondering about that, if she was concerned about it, at least he knew to address it up front. And it's not like, oh, he didn't even anticipate my feelings or he didn't even think that it would make me feel a type of way. Like he addressed it somehow. I
Okay.
appreciated it. How did
So
you feel?
I'm 50-50 on it. Part of me feels like let the girl get through her wedding day. Just enjoy her wedding day. What would a day what would her finding out the next day have changed? Other than like it not being a part of the conversation or a point of contention potentially,
Hmm.
because she could have taken it worse and been like, oh no, but then the other part of me is I don't think he had a choice because one, they invited the other couples
All of them.
and his friends and family may have bought it up too. So I'm right in the middle on it. Like, it could have waited a day, let her get through her wedding day. But then I'm also like, you can't expect that many people to hold it. So he didn't really have a choice. He had to tell her. I appreciated how he told her. It didn't throw the other
Woman,
bride to be under the bus and kept it very short and sweet.
I said under the
And
bridge.
I think she took it as
Very.
well as she could. I mean, she seemed to be like, "Oh, okay."
Okay. Okay. No, he would have needed like Halle Bailey's team to keep that many people mute. Like he would have needed a lot to keep it under wraps. So
Yeah.
yeah, I understand what you mean though. Like, dang, can I get through this wedding day without a big thing being dropped? But yeah,
And right after that, she has her scene, like they both walk up and they join the other couples. And then we got Emily talking smack. I'm like, girl, who cares if their vows are vanilla? You have a lot of stuff on your plate to worry about, like exiting this marriage safely.
because she said something at the end that threw me off, and I'm like, we've come too far, Emily. We've come too far for you to be talking like this. Be for
Yeah.
real. But yeah, I'll address that when we talk about them. But
Yeah.
you can we can we get to the reception now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they had me scared for a second at the reception when she brought up not wanting to have kids with his friends. And they were like, "Oh, you should
Mm.
talk to her about it." I know I'm not going in order, but to me, this was the big
Oh, okay.
that happened at the reception. If you have other things, you can.
No, we can talk about what you want to talk about first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, when she brought up not wanting kids, and they were like, "Oh, you should talk to him about that." And then they went to commercial break. So I was sweating for a second. I'm like, "Oh Lord, is this gonna be what the religion thing is for Emily and
Mm-hmm.
not Emily and Brendan? What's the
Austin and Becca.
Austin and Becca? Yes, is this gonna be their big thing?" So I was very scared about the kids thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then they're on the same page. Like he said, he's never had the desire to have kids of his own. So it's whatever his person wants, as long as they're in a loving relationship. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Get people who are open.
Yes.
And I think this is a risk in any couple. Anyone can change their minds. But I
Mm-hmm.
think because of their age, I'm hopeful. Like he's 38. He's probably had a lot of people around him have children. You know how people always say, like, oh, you always say you don't want to have kids, just give it time, give it time. But I think
A little bit of time.
it works that they're close in age and at a similar stage, and that no, that it could be just that they both are okay with not having kids. I think the biggest hurdle would be like if he's really open to adopting and raising kids. But
Right.
at least they seem to be starting off mostly on the same page.
Quick
Yeah.
question. It's an aside, but I know a lot of us in the comments are talking about how this show is going down the drain. I don't know if you guys have heard, but maybe it's the next season or the season after that. Apparently, they're gonna do like ages 50 and up. And so let us know in the comments is that something you'd be interested in because the people are already secure in themselves, hopefully set in their ways, know what they want, and maybe they might be past a place of I don't know, children conversations or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But is that something that do you guys think that'll revamp the show a little bit? Them giving us older couples to watch. Like the Golden Bachelor is a thing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if they're bringing it back for a second season. I didn't watch the first one, but do you guys think that'll spice it up and make you interested again in this show?
Maybe it's me being hopeful, but I think so because I think it'll bring a different set of challenges and
Mm-hmm.
issues
Yeah.
that you probably haven't seen other than the Golden Bachelor maybe play out on
Yeah.
reality TV. Just because people at that stage of life are dealing with different things. They probably already have kids. The
Yeah.
kids could be either grown and gone or in the process of being grown and gone. They could potentially still have some at home,
Yeah.
merging families, retirement talks. Like they
Yeah.
have all different types of things going on. So I'd be interested. I don't know.
I'd be, and I know people have been suggesting Ready to Love.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot on our plates right now, so it's not looking like we'll be able to review this season. But we
Mm-hmm.
have heard about it, and we do love the concept of 30s and 40s, like, singles.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to watch it in the future, but I just know like over the next few months, especially with us planning on doing like Love is Blind as well,
Mhm.
we just don't have the capacity. So if y'all can bear with us, possibly
Yeah.
next season, we'll be on the Ready to Love bandwagon.
Yeah.
All right, back to Emily
Oh
and
yeah.
not Emily. Why do I keep saying
Chlo-
Emily? Michael and
Chloe and
Chloe.
Michael, yeah. So, okay, yeah, they bring up the kids thing. We feel like okay, they're going to be good on that. What did you think about the friend bringing up, oh, he has a spending habit when it comes to shoes, say he or accessories or whatever. Oh, say he comes to you and he wants to spend thousands of dollars on a pair of shoes. What do you think?
I think with her being a minimalist, it could have scared her off a little bit. I think she can tell he has some type of fashion interest
Mm-hmm.
already. So I didn't think it was a huge deal. And I think her answer was very perfect. Like, okay, if that's what brings him joy, that's what brings him joy, but it's not my thing. Like, there are things that we might enjoy that significant others wouldn't enjoy, and vice versa. And so it's not impossible. It's not a situation where, like, was it Mitch a few seasons ago, San Diego, where he was
Mm.
like, "Oh no, you have to be as environmentally conscious as
Oh
I."
yeah, with the recycling and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the specific shot glasses, I forgot what they were called, but
Oh yeah.
she doesn't seem like that type of person, so that's a good thing. It doesn't seem like it scared her off. But sometimes you say it won't scare you off, then when you see it in practice, it's like, okay, maybe we ought to keep our funds separate. And they're at that age where I feel like they could decide, oh, we're not joining bank accounts and that'll be fine too. Like it's okay.
Yeah. I think because of their stage of life, I'm like, why are you asking her this? I don't know. He's what 38 years old. She's 39. At this point, they're probably established and I think could be comfortable with just keeping their finances separate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, yeah, I was just like, why are you asking that?
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
If it were my friend, I wouldn't want you doing that. Like, if I had a thing I was into, if I have the money to spend on it, it's fine.
I'm clearly taking good care of myself. I'm not spending what I don't have.
Yeah.
They did that with a lady on the Houston season with Merla.
Mm.
Yeah, she had expensive taste, but she had the money.
Then it's nobody's business.
Yeah, and they kept bringing that up. Like, okay, she's high maintenance. Next.
Mm.
Okay. I don't have anything really. Oh, the
Oh,
situation with.
well, I was going to say the reception, small, hardly nobody there.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because it was thrown together at the last minute. Um, yeah,
the thing with the family. So when he
mm,
said that, another bride left him, I thought that was an opportunity, or that was a moment where he took the opportunity to big up himself. Like, oh, I could have let it, destroy
mhm,
me, but I decided to use this as an opportunity to whatever, whatever. And then, of course, they were very impressed by it, as we all have been. But I'm like, okay, that could be the last that we hear from. I wouldn't be mad if that's the last of the
mhm.
runaway
That's
bride
it.
situation that we hear. Like, put it in a box, put a top on it. You have a
Yeah,
new.
I hope for her sake and his, he doesn't keep bringing it up. Just y'all are married now, let it be. I think later on she does mention it could have been when she was talking to his friends, or maybe she was talking to the girls, but
Girls.
was saying like, is he fully healed from it? Which I think is valid because the timeline is very close. If they're still in this process, that means that this happened a month ago.
So yeah,
And while he handled it with a lot of grace, he also seemed to be, upset by it as well. So I think her concerns are valid,
yeah,
even in her being like, well, why wasn't I the first pick?
that would be a concern of mine. Like, what wasn't a match, that made them consider this other person over me. But
And
like,
this is why I wanted her to get through her wedding day without all that. Like,
yeah, because it puts a damper on it.
mm-hmm.
I see, I see. I understand.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, the sit down with the girls didn't have much.
Honey.
They were just
That's
trying to reassure her that everything will be fine. I mean, they said what they had to in the moment. What else could they say?
right. Okay. So let's talk about some of the other couples that we saw. Do you want to get Claire out of the way? Because she was there and Cameron wasn't.
Girl, he don't want to talk to you no more.
And
Y'all
why
are
is he calling
separated.
him? Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm here and I'm missing you. No, girl, why? You don't even know him. Cut it out.
I think she was in the moment, back in the wedding space. You know, it's an exciting event. Maybe had a few drinks. Maybe the girls were like, call and check on him. No, he said he was good.
He ain't calling you.
Mm-mm. They're not going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to do Lauren and Orion next?
Yeah.
All right. I think him trying to have a conversation with her at the table was beyond me. And she was very nice about it. She was on the after party and said something about this, but
Mm.
he was trying to have a conversation. And I thought she was very cordial and she was talking to him as if they didn't have any bad blood. So it
Mm-hmm.
seems like she has, forgiven and moved on from whatever happened with them. And I think that's very adult of her. Um,
Yeah, I don't understand why he thought someone else's wedding was the time and place to do all that. Because it could have, like, he didn't know how it was going to go.
I he did it because the cameras were there.
You think
I
he's
don't know
trying
if
to clear his conscience of like, oh, I just want to make sure everything is good.
that's what I get from him. And
Mm,
I think not even just clear his conscience, but clear his conscience on TV.
mm.
I think he realizes now after a few conversations, like, oh, I handle things poorly, probably. And I think he's aware of that. I think he's on his Brennan, where he's very aware of how he looks now.
Yeah. I mean, she said that she was good. She didn't want to talk. He keeps digging. She lets him know, like, hey, I'm good. How are you feeling emotionally about it? Why?
Exactly. I hate when you are the one who decides a relationship is over, you've made your decision, do the mature thing and let it be over. Stop hounding the person about their feelings. You don't care about this person's feelings. You don't. And that's okay. Like we don't have to care about all our ex's feelings or everybody's feelings. Like you don't care. I mean, I'm sure he cares about her like on a human level, but you don't need to know her deepest, darkest thoughts about the divorce.
That and this is where I wish Lauren wouldn't have given him much. Here she goes, taking accountability, saying that, hey, you know, I wasn't myself in the process. I realized, well, I didn't have childhood trauma. I have relationship trauma. Once again, owning up to it. And what did he have to say? Oh, well, you know, I was talking to my therapist and they said I'm stubborn.
you know, you show the face. Um, something I put down when he asked her for a hug. I'm like, I think it it's just so clear to me that he might have some unresolved things with his mother or
With
with
women in general,
her.
the way he keeps bringing up, oh, the women in my family, women in my family. I'm sorry. What did he say before? Oh, I feel like everything that's happened, I'm gonna have to answer to the community, the Native American community, or whatever, because of what you said. And I'm like, what you may have to answer for is how your opinion of the women in your family in the way that you're communicating it, like you may need to answer for that because I want to know why you keep bringing these women up and the things that they've done or not done or been through.
Yeah.
Why they're not on TV.
I think there's something that draws him to Lauren. Not in a, oh, I want to be around her, but I think there's something about her. I think there's something she possesses that he did not have or did not see. And he's like upset about
Mm.
it. So, like, when he asked her for the hug, I think like he's drawn to her light and her nurturing spirit. And I think that shows him what he didn't have. But instead of him like leaning into that, I think he's like, it repels him a little bit. I don't know. There's something
Mm.
going on there, but I'm nobody's therapist, so I can't say. But I just think that whole dynamic is a little odd.
Yeah, he needs to resolve whatever about his childhood, stop making blanketed statements about the women in his community. Like, if I were a woman in that community, I would not.
You do not represent us. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't speak for all of us. You had your experience,
And that's
and
okay.
that's that.
Yeah.
And you're a grown adult now, and you need to do the work to figure out whatever. On top of the fact, you claim that you have never been in a romantic relationship with a woman in your community.
So you don't even know what that's like. Anyway, I just think there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. And yes, I got that all from him being like, well, can I have a hug? Like, I don't, why? Why do you want a hug? Why are you? Anyway, so that's that on them.
Mm.
Brennan. Okay, so oh, sorry, I meant to tell you what Lauren said at the after party. So
Oh, yeah,
she
yeah.
said that they went out, the whole group of them went out after the wedding. Obviously not Chloe and Michael, but the
Mm.
rest of them went out after the wedding, and Orion was very like standoffish. And so that's what I mean when I say, oh, I feel like he was doing it all for the cameras a little bit. Like she was like, he wouldn't really talk, didn't want to have any type of interaction. This is the man who's asking, oh, how do you feel about this emotionally and all of that? Like, so
Wow.
I believe her. I do. So
What a
that was what Lauren said
mess.
at the after party. But the reason why I thought about the after party is because we're about to talk about Emily and Brennan. And I know there was a lot of conversation last week about Emily's interaction with Keisha Knight Pulliam on the after party. Sorry, we hadn't been watching because they put Prison Brides right after MAFS now. And so I thought, okay, maybe we're not having the after party, but I just realized it's pushed to later. So we watched the clip of Emily and Keisha Knight Pulliam, the back and forth. Miosha, what did you think about it? And for those who didn't see it, I'll try to include a clip from this Instagram page that has it in the description.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't think much of it. I saw that a lot of people were like, "Oh, you see, Emily is just like Brennan. She was being rude." What I took from it was Keisha was asking a question that Emily clearly didn't want to give the full answer and wanted to dance around. And I think after a few attempts, Emily got frustrated and was like, let's just move on. Like, I don't want to answer it. I think from Keisha's perspective, she's pressing because she's acting on behalf of the viewers. But what I saw was Emily just being frustrated with being pressed on something that she really didn't want to give an answer to. I didn't see how she acted in that space being equal to what I had seen from Brennan for the last few weeks. Yeah, it's just she didn't want to answer it. She wanted to move on. She's like, okay, give me another question. This isn't going anywhere. I'm not answering it the way that you want. Also, I think clearly Emily is in a situation where she's having to be very mindful about what she's saying and how she's saying it. Now, why she's still doing that on the after party, I'm not sure. But from the episodes we've seen so far, we clearly see he's very much about Brennan, is about their image, his image, what she's communicating about them as a couple. And she seems to only be able to open up more when she's around Dr. Pia, who Brennan clearly doesn't see it for. So yeah, I say all that to say I didn't see maybe what everyone else was seeing as far as like she didn't want to answer the question. Move
Yeah.
on. I
And
mean,
also I can tell that she felt like Keisha Napoleon was excusing his behavior. And having been in a situation where she was mistreated by Brennan, I think it probably felt frustrating to not have someone see her point. And so I think she interpreted, oh, well, she's asking me all these questions like back to back as she's trying to find a reason why there's fault with what I did, not fault with what he did. And so I could understand the frustration there with I'm clearly in a situation that is near abusive or, something of
Mm-hmm.
that sort, something leaning toward that direction for sure. And you're not commenting on that, but you want to comment on my behavior. Like you can clearly see how this man is reacting, and he's even worse off camera. So why am I getting feedback about it? And so I definitely appreciated Keisha Knight Pulliam because I can understand how she felt like that with the back-to-back question. But I appreciated Keisha Knight Pulliam saying like, I'm not the enemy here. I'm asking you these things because we weren't there for, we weren't there to see it. And I want to give you the space to say exactly, this is what we agreed to. This is what I said. This is what he said in response to that. Like, paint the picture for us because this is your chance to, debunk whatever it is that he has said before, for the viewer. So I appreciated that she cleared that up because I don't think it was very clear initially. Another thing I would say is I think Keisha Knight Pulliam gets to the answers on the after
Mm-hmm.
party. Like when Orion was there, she asked very pointed questions to get to to whatever it was. Cameron, same thing. Brennan, same thing. And so I don't think it was any malice toward
Mm-mm.
Emily at all. Um, yeah, I think she be getting to the questions. So
Yeah, and Emily didn't want to answer,
yeah.
got frustrated. I will say though, had she answered and said, "Oh yeah, we agreed to one thing and then I got in front of Dr. Pia and I changed my mind," I think
Mhm.
ultimately that's that's the real, I guess, conversation. Like she could change her mind, even if they did have a discussion about it beforehand, even if she didn't feel confident to say it in front of him. I think what I've seen is she'll say whatever in front of him when the cameras aren't there. Seems like whatever she feels like she could say to be safe, I guess, and it
Mhm.
won't turn into a big blow up. And then when other people are around, it's like, okay, now is my time. Now, I'm not saying that that's the most mature way to handle it or whatever, but from what I've seen, nothing warrants how he's reacted.
And people were like, oh, this is who she really is. I think there are a lot of people in the comments who are just looking for ways to excuse this type of behavior from a man. I think that's what it is. A lot of women
Mm.
and men alike in the comment sections who are just like, oh, see, she's at fault. Brennan is such a gentleman for not airing out who the real Emily is. I'm like, if this is your idea of a gentleman, please don't ever become a matchmaker.
And also, if this is his way of protecting her, I think we're in different realities, but
Because the person who's doing the protecting is the one she needs to be protected from. All right. Um, so this episode now, sorry, we just wanted to address that because we had missed some after party.
mm-hmm.
But all right, so this episode, this Emily's like, yeah, we're back in the place where we got married. And this man's like, well, it don't really affect me because I go to wedding venues all the time. And it's just the same venue. It's just the place. I'm like,
A lot of people get married here.
right, right. I was like, okay. And then Emily goes, I know Brennan doesn't think we have chemistry, but we do. Emily, this is not the time to be delusional. Wake up. This is not the time to be delusional. Okay?
I
Don't do
think she's still holding on to whatever vibe they had on the honeymoon. She needs to wake up.
There's nothing to hold on to at this point, girl. You holding on to air. Like there's nothing to hold on to.
Mm-mm. But yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I'm excited about
There,
Michael. She's like, huh? What?
you're excited about their honeymoon? Yeah, because we can advise them and nobody wants your advice. I'm sorry.
And then she says, what? That is going to crash and burn after. He's like, well, no, it may not be. They may actually have feelings for each other. She's like, oh,
It
that's
was very
only us.
yeah. I think Brendan is too judgmental of Emily. Like when she was out there dancing on the well, obviously on the dance floor, but
Mm-hmm.
when she was out there dancing and you don't want to dance, she's trying to have fun with the people who want to have fun with her, and I support that. Like this is a wedding reception. There's music playing. Like let's have a good time. And I think at a certain point she bumped into someone and that person's glass shattered. Okay, he was making it seem like, oh, well, she's so wasted. I mean, he didn't say this, but oh, she's so
Mm-hmm.
wasted, and that's why. But her wine glass was like full. Like there was, it's like she hadn't even drunk out of it when that happened. And so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she had multiple drinks, but accidents happen. People bump into each other when they're out there on the dance floor. I just think he's too judgmental. I think he's looking for reasons to associate her with this party girl. And it doesn't help that she presented herself as that in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning either. But yeah, I think he's just looking for things to be. And when you're looking that hard, you're gonna find some, like, you could be looking for things to be wrong with me, and you're gonna find stuff because you're looking for stuff, you know? So
I think that whole scene just shows just how they're just not compatible.
mhm.
Um, I don't know who, I mean, I don't expect everyone to be on the dance floor, but people go to weddings to dance and drink.
Facts.
So I could understand if she was busting it wide open, like doing too much. But from what that scene, I didn't see where she was doing too much.
Yeah. It was very
She
mild.
looked like a wedding guest, drinking, having a good time, like everybody else does at all the weddings. I've seen people drop stuff at weddings. They come in, they clean it up, they keep it moving. Like, but I think they're just not compatible. That's not his vibe. Because keep in mind, you notice that whenever she has a drink, he has a drink. It's not like he is not a drinker and
Right.
she's a huge drinker. I think everyone's drinking. And I also think because of how she carries herself, I
Mhm.
think it can make it a little bit easier to see like, oh, she's the one that takes it over the top. I think if that is the vibe that she's on, he needs to communicate that.
Yeah. Because everybody else around her seemed to be doing exactly what she was doing. Like they were matching her energy, or she
Did
was
she
matching.
bump into somebody or
I
did
don't
somebody bump
know.
into her? They never
Her
showed
glass was still in her hand, so it wasn't her glass that fell. So I assumed that she bumped into someone else, but there were like 4 or 5 people in that bunch. So we don't even know if it was her who bumped
the
into.
way that they cut it, and I'm not making excuses for her. I'm
Right.
saying even if she did bump someone, things happen. They didn't show anything to me that would warrant him being like, oh, I'm done for the night. It's over. I don't know. That scene, I need to see more and
Yeah.
how it played out. Did they talk about it on the after party?
So Lauren just said that Brennan was also very standoffish, but I mean,
Oh, well, yeah.
Brennan was Brennaning.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Mm.
I think that's all. We didn't see Becca and Austin. They went to see his grandma.
Mm-hmm. And Chloe seems like she's ready to rumble.
Girl, she seemed into, but I would say she's ready to rumble because she came to bed with
The
pajamas,
whole
a robe. She was like, I like you, but I don't like you that much. It's like we're not doing none of that. But yeah, she seems really into him. Like she was rubbing on his thigh in the car. I said, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Chloe.
She's like, oh, I'm hot.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
I'm hot thinking about.
We'll see if she
Yeah.
keeps that same energy. I don't know. I'm still right in the middle. Like, I don't know.
I don't think they're gonna work. Honestly, I think it's always safe to say, oh, these couples aren't gonna work and be surprised that they do. I'd rather be on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say it makes sense that they added another couple because there's nothing going on really with the others. Where it's like, what else will we even be viewing at this point?
They could just end the season. You know, that's an option. Like
Well, you know
we
they're
don't
not
need
gonna do that.
21 episodes. We're good with 14 if there's nothing.
Well, you said that you think they'd be wrapping up by the time Love is Blind is back, but that's in about
2 weeks.
2, 3 weeks. So,
1, 2, 3, yeah. Almost 3 weeks from now.
but there's still 20 something day. Is there 20 something days left until decision day?
I don't know, child.
Mm.
It's less than 20. It's less than 20.
It's less than 20. So I guess they could get to decision day by Love is Blind, but then still have, they do decision day in 2 parts, right?
They don't have to. Like two
They don't
two
have to do a lot of things that they do.
Girl, all the decisions have been made at this point. That's I think I said it on here, but I know I sent it to you that someone was like decision day could be a tweet at this point. Like we don't need 2 episodes. You
It
don't
could be an
even have to give us
email.
one.
It could be an email. A
Okay.
bird flies it in.
Okay.
Anything.
Instagram post, child. All
Anyways.
right, so we'll see you guys next week. We'll be back with more Am I the A-hole content next week.
Hmm.
And yeah, you guys be safe. Have a great weekend, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.
Bye.